What's up guys, Intelitech Studios here, and today will be the full review of the Bissell CleanView 2 Bagless Plus. And this machine is one that, well, you've probably seen this a little bit on YouTube. Out of all the CleanView 2 models, this one appears to be the most common, and it's also, I believe, the newest one that appeared on the market before it was replaced by the CleanView Helix and this CleanView 1 Pass. So, this CleanView 2 Bagless Plus is a pretty interesting machine. Obviously, the original CleanView 2 was released in 2004 to basically replace, although it ended up sort of going alongside the original Bissell CleanView that released in 2002. So the CleanView 2 was basically a revised Bissell CleanView with a better filter setup and a little bit more resilient design that wouldn't be as susceptible to motor failure as the early Bissell CleanViews. Now, these machines did have their own issues of motor failure as well due to lots of dust and debris going through the motor, and many of it clogging the outer HEPA media filter, or some versions of this machine also had just a standard post-motor filter very similar to the Power Force. And a lot of these had their own issues. You don't see a lot of these nowadays, but you do see these a lot more often than you see the original CleanViews. The original CleanViews you do not see very much at all nowadays. Those machines are mostly put in the dumpster as they get very loud because of the bearings on the motor being completely destroyed by all the dust going through it due to the awful filter setup and some of the worst filtration that's ever been seen on a clean air bagless upright vacuum in the modern millennium. So this particular machine was pretty much made to correct those issues. It added a HEPA media filter, which again some original CleanViews had that, but it actually has the better filter door. You can actually, easily unlock this filter door. It didn't just have the one singular latch that holds the filter in place, so this was a lot more resilient. Although there were some older CleanView models that had this updated filter door design as well. There are also some versions of the CleanView that have the Revolution system, which I actually do have one of those, I just don't have it out right now. And that system does work a lot better, again, compared to the original CleanView setup. But this particular unit is, again, the one that apparently ran for the most common amount of time. There was the Bissell CleanView Deluxe, CleanView 2 Deluxe, which I have reviewed in the past. There's also the original CleanView 2, which was in a green color, and some versions of it had it in the same color as the Deluxe. This Plus model, again, is the most common with this black and dark blue color scheme. So, this machine, you can see it has a front-mounted headlight, which definitely is nice. So that is definitely a nice feature. It has a wide beam headlight. It's not the smaller headlight that's in the 6594-W. It's the wide beam headlight that was in the original 3522s and 6594s, as well as the original Power Glide. So, which again, I do have all of those machines. I just don't have them out right now. I should clarify, I have a 3522-5, and I do have both versions of the 6594, but the other one has a dead motor. And I do have the Power Glide as well. I have a lot of Bissells. I just tend to get them. So, this has the wide cleaning path with 7 height adjustments, which, original Power Force bagless models had, again, like that one. So, as usual, these knobs tend to break over time. They tend to get really scratchy and not be as smooth. But if you add a little bit of, not grease, but, just kind of clean the inside of this, then that will tend to solve that problem. It does have a bare floor setting, but again, like everything else in this price range, whether it's new or old, don't use this on bare floors. This is not going to perform very well. You can see we have the handle latch, which is very prone to breaking, just like all the other latches, although this one is behaving fine. You actually have a stair cleaning handle up here, which isn't all that comfortable. I do like having it there. It is nice to have that option, but the rear carrying handle is a lot nicer. You have a side-mounted power switch, which I greatly prefer to the bottom-mounted power switch that you find, or even the one on the 9595, which is a little bit lower. You've got your wire reinforced stretch hose, which works pretty well. I believe this one was a replacement from a CleanView Helix. That's what it looks like to me. This whole machine was kind of created as a mishmash of parts. I got this one from Cameron, known as the Vacuum Observatory, and it's been pretty good. And it's definitely, that's definitely a nice machine. So yeah, so you got the HEPA filter right here. Again, you have a lot of dust on the inside of this. You got a lot of dirt that gets kind of trapped in here. So just not a great filtration system. It should go without saying, don't buy this if you need a vacuum that has even remotely acceptable filtration. This bottom filter, there's supposed to be an outer circular filter as well, but it's missing. The filter setup on this is very similar to a PowerForce bagless. You have the pre-motor filter down here, the separator that's up here, the large amount of dust that collects behind here and leads to the entire machine needing to be torn apart and washed, because this thing just blows a bunch of dust back here. And of course this awful design set up with the two inner and outer circular filters, and of course the instructions for cleaning said filters on the back of the dirt container. So typical Bissell fare at this point. Build quality on this is pretty good though, compared to the stuff they make nowadays. This feels very sturdy. Again, other than the handle and the height adjustment knob, which those feel better on the newer style Bissells, like the CleanViews and such. Has a classic 12 amp motor, which is nice. That 9595 does also have a 12 amp motor, but there's not really a point to it being there because there's no headlight. This does have a headlight, which I like. It also has onboard turbo brush. It's the older style turbo brush that works a lot better. You do have your side mounted cord, which is a lot better than the rear mounted cord on that machine and newer PowerForce Helixes. This is so much nicer. It's actually feasible to get to the cord without it being a pain in the neck, and you actually do have some sort of ability to add an extension cord to it. Now this cord's been replaced, so this cord doesn't have any sort of clip on it. I'm actually considering, because I've been considering doing some like commercial cleaning jobs, I've actually been considering using this machine for that task. Since it has the headlight, it's similar to a PowerForce bagless. I don't know. Some collectors will probably freak out at hearing that, considering I have so many commercial machines. But yeah, you can see this is model number 3574 from 2004. But again, this machine was, because I know some people are going to comment about that, this machine was cobbled out of various other parts, various other CleanView 2s, so that's probably not correct. But that's what it says, so that's what I'm calling it. So people complain about it being the wrong model number. I believe the correct model number is 3576-6 or something to that effect. That's the model number that's coming to my head. I don't know if that's correct or not, but that's the first one I thought of. Whatever. So they're all the same. So this machine is, I believe that model number was from an original CleanView 2, not a Plus model, but close enough. So this does have the dual edge cleaning, which actually doesn't work as good as the edge cleaning on the newer units that don't have the bumpers, because obviously the bumpers make it to where it's not as close to the baseboard to be able to pull up dirt. So dual edge cleaning is actually not as good as the newer units that don't advertise dual edge cleaning, as ironic as that says. VacLab did a test on that and proved it. So that's kind of odd, but it does advertise dual edge cleaning, so it's kind of there, but doesn't work the greatest. You're better off just using the crevice tool for edge cleaning. And because this is a CleanView and not a PowerForce, an older style PowerForce, the extension wand is about 2/3 the length, which is really annoying how the more expensive and more premium vacuum had a worse quality extension wand. But now all of the machines in Bissell's lineup have this crappy extension wand. I mean, it still works, it's just, not as good. And of course, crevice tool in there, not the original one, but pretty similar to the original one, just a darker shade of color. And then of course the classic combination tool that Bissell is famous for, or infamous depending on who you ask. So the dusting brush, upholstery tool. This isn't great for upholstery, and this isn't great for dusting. So yeah, not a lot there, but it is nice to at least have the option as opposed to the newer dusting brushes. So, of course, you got the hose wand. So, again, you don't have this on newer machines, you just have the little end of the hose, and that combined with them having this lesser wand, the reach on this is much better than newer units, but ironically not as good as the Power Force bagless because the Power Force bagless has a longer extension wand. But yeah, also a lot of newer machines have much shorter crevice tools as well, so... And also, because this has this combination tool, it has a little slot in there where you can actually put the crevice tool in that and use it as an extension wand on this tool, which many people don't know that you can use the crevice tool as an extension wand with this combo tool and have all the attachments on the machine in use at once. And it works surprisingly well. And again, the turbo brush works a lot better than the newer turbo brushes that you see on Bissell's newer machines, especially the pet ones like on the Powerlifter and the Helix Turbo. So, yeah. And then I'm trying to think, the only other thing I can really think of to mention, obviously you have the brush roll down here. It agitates very well. It does clean a little bit better than the older units, or than the newer units, I mean. But the difference is pretty negligible. It still cleans good for the price, but it's not going to blow your socks off or nothing. It will outperform an Auric or a Dyson, but, you know, so does most other things. So, at least, you know, an older Auric or Dyson, you know, that would have existed around the time that this was on the market. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll go ahead and give it a run. Now, before y'all say anything, I don't think this sounds, if I remember correctly, this doesn't sound as good as my 6594, but it doesn't sound too bad. I believe it does sound it sounds pretty much the same as my Deluxe, which I effectively traded this for. So, yeah. Yeah, I think this actually does sound a little bit worse than my Deluxe, but I'm not really worried about it, especially since I did end up getting basically traded 2 machines for 3, so, you know, that one being in much better condition is perfectly fine by me. So, yeah, doesn't sound the best. I do probably need to maybe screw with that motor, but I'm not sure if Cameron already did screw with it and that's the best it's going to sound, or if there's something else to be done. I'm not quite sure. I don't believe he was the one that actually put it together, so not quite sure. But either way, still works pretty good. Suction's not as good as I thought it would have been, but that filter probably needs cleaned. So yeah, that's the review of the Bissell CleanView 2 Bagless Plus model, whatever it is at this point, because it's some Frankenstein machine of, you know, random motor, random back panel, random cord, but the front looks like a CleanView 2 Plus. So, anyways, this is Intelitech Studio signing out with my review of the Bissell CleanView 2 Plus. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a great rest of your day. If you have this machine or a similar one, let me know in the comments below, and have a good one. Peace.